Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om everybody. So we are on chapter 6. And last time we saw the portion where Bhagwan is giving a little bit of more instructions as to what would help in meditation, in dhyana. And he starts off saying, Sankalpa Prabhavan Kaman Tyaktva. What is to be given up for us is those desires that are arising out of Sankalpa. So every thought is a desire, hunger is a desire, thirst is a desire. There is a desire for basic shelter, clothes, etc., etc. These are not considered sankalpa prabhavan. Those who are driven by sankalpa, and sankalpa, I told you, is fanciful imagination. So the desires that are driven by the imagination is false. You're just imagining. By imagining that this fulfillment of this desire is going to give me happiness, that those type of desires have to be given up in entirety. And then this way, when the whole all the sense organs are under our control, viniyamya samantata, then they become sama, they become equipoised. Okay. And then slowly, shanai word is slowly, but it also includes another aspect of being steady. So it is slow and steady. Steadiness is also required. Perseverance, steadiness. What will give steadiness is perseverance. That I do meditation, and it's not like the results are going to come right away, but that steadiness has to be there, where I continue with it slowly. That's why I told you last time, Gurudev has the book Hasten Slowly. You must hasten. You must be steady in your spiritual practice, but take it slowly. Don't think that all of a sudden, you will sit and it doesn't work like that. Okay. It's not like, unless of course you have a guru like Ramakrishna Paramahansa who put his hand on Narendra's head, and but we are not that fortunate. At least we are fortunate to have a guru who can tell us this. So shanai, slowly but steadily. Buddhya dhriti grahitaya, that intellect, hold it. Grahan is to hold. So hold that intellect with perseverance. What? Hold where? In that thought of Aham Brahmasmi. Atma Saustham Manakratva. Here, Bhagwan is not using the word Aham Brahmasmi. That is a Vedantic term from the Upanishads. He says Atma Samstam, in your own self. Hold the mind in your own self, because self itself is Brahman. So don't let it go here and there, wander. And what will help is that Sankalpa Prabhavan Kaman will help very much. So he says, then don't worry, keep it there. This is what he said. And then yato nischarati, yato. Whenever, how, to the extent that mind remains steady. Charati, I told you, chara is to eat, graze, or wander. Charati is also to like walk. So to the extent where that mind is now steady, not wandering as much, Manas chanchalam asthiram. Chanchala, I told you, fickle-mindedness, where the mind is jumping from one topic to another. Asthira is where in the same topic, the mind is still jumping. That, as much as that is controlled, tato, that much, then you will come under the control of Atma. Means you will be able to keep that mind steady in Atma. And then what happens? Prashanta manasam yeyam yoginam sukhama uttamam. So prashanta manasam, his mind will become prashanta. It will be extremely stilled. What happens in this final state of meditation? Let me tell you. See, we have always we have heard this many times. Where is thought coming from? And we have always said it comes from the vasanas, right? In our chart, vasana is on the top. We have collected these vasanas are subtle impressions, which we do not know. Even we do not know our own vasanas. We have brought them from our previous life. This is the technical aspect of this dhyana I'm telling you. So for those who can follow, those who have studied Vivek Churamani and all will follow this. If others don't, it's okay. It is not necessary that you must follow. But anyway, the thought comes from vasana. And I've always told you that there is no thought that will come in your mind which is not in your vasana. It's impossible. It has to be there in the vasana. And at some point in your life, something in life will trigger that vasana, and then it will fructify. What is said technically is that vasana, when it fructifies, it will come as a thought. Now that fructification, when it happens, how it happens, we don't know. It could be an external trigger, it could be an internal trigger, whatever it is, that thought comes. Now there are many thoughts, and now what we are doing in the seat of meditation is making the mind single pointed. Before being single pointed, it has to be purified. Therefore karma yoga came first. So chapter 3, we were told of karma yoga. So karma yoga gives chitta shuddhi, which is purity of the mind, and dhyana gives chitta ekagrata. Both these are required. Ekagrata, this single pointedness, cannot come without purification. What is purification? Is reduction of likes and dislikes. That's why that sankalpa prabhavan kaman, that is reduction. When you don't have that intense like and intense dislike, you will not run. There is no physically running, but the mind is running after things that I like and running away. So that running, when it stops, and then so what happens is that is purification. That stopping of the running gives it single pointedness. That's how the mind becomes ekagra. First chitta shuddhi has to come, then ekagrata. So ekagrata cannot come without chitta shuddhi. Without purification, it cannot come. Now what is happening is, now you are making that mind single pointed. So you are actually, what you're doing is thinning the mind. What is thinning the mind? What is a thick mind? Means so many thoughts are going on in our mind. Okay, helter-skelter, they're running. Now all of those have been controlled. In the practice of meditation, dharana, what you're doing is you're reducing that thought to now one thought. Atma is only one. External world, there is manyness. But when you go inside, there is only one. Either you say Atma, or technically you can say Aham Brahmasmi. So when you make that mind single pointed on the thought of Brahman, on the thought of Atma, it starts becoming subtle. That is what happens to the thought. That is what is called as the thinning of the thought. There is now first thinning of the thoughts, plural. So from 100, it has come to 1. Now that one thought also, now you're making it subtler and subtler by polishing. Polishing it is keeping it there. And at one point, that subtle thought disappears. Where will it disappear? Where did it come from? It came from the vasana. It disappears into the vasana. Means that thought becomes a vasana now. When it becomes a vasana, you are not even aware, because we are not aware of the vasanas. We are not aware of we are only aware of thought. That's why as long as you're in that Aham Brahmasmi thought, it is perceived. Aham Brahmasmi, when I say in the seat of meditation, that thought is perceived. It is thought. That thought also ultimately disappears to become a vasana. And that is what is then knowledge. Final knowledge. There is savikalpa samadhi, then nirvikalpa samadhi, and then this is the process. So you've come from the vasana level. Thought has come from the vasana level. It travels back into the vasana. That is the technical explanation of all this dhyana. And then what happens? Prashant mind, of course, is going to be very, because there is no thought. Thought has gone into vasana level, unaware. We are unaware of vasanas. Whatever, there may be even cruel vasanas or lusty, passionate. It is not bothering me right now. Those vasanas don't bother me. Why? Because I don't know. I'm not aware. When they manifest as thought, they bother us. Until then, nothing is. We don't know what kind of vasanas we have brought. Right? So this is what is happening. Those of you who are meditating, who are into this is the process. You have to go backward. That's why in chapter 2 also Bhagavan said, from outside you go inside. The more you go inside, you're just going into one path only. There is not many paths inside. Inside there is only Atma, one and alone. Either you call it Brahman or you call it Atma. It's one and the same thing. This is the return journey. And that's why Gurudev has said this Hari Om that we say, he said it is Hari Om. Come back to your home. You've gotten lost in the world. Come back. That is what Gurudev, that's why this Hari Om is there. Our Chinmaya mission greeting is Hari Om. That is Hari, Hurry, home, Home. Come back home. Don't wander. So this is what Upayati Shant, that Rajas now, what Rajas, even Sattva has now been quietened. Right? There's no sattva. See, sattva, what thoughts generates? Sattva also generates thought. Because it's prakriti. What thought will generate is a better thought. Oh, let me read. Let me attend class. Let me, that sort of, but thought is still being generated. That has to stop. Even sattva, we have to go beyond sattva. Shantarajasam Brahma Bhutama Akalbasham. He becomes Brahman. Becoming Brahman, I told you, there is no becoming Brahman. He recognizes himself to be Brahman because now he has gone into a thought-free state. That's why one of the names of Gurudev is Shri Om Nirvikalpaya Namaha. Nirvikalpa. Nirvikalpa. Vikalpa thought. No thought. Okay. And then Sada Yunjan, because now once it becomes a vasana, that's it. It's there. Sada Atmanam Yogi Vigata Kalmashaha. There is no impurities whatsoever. The 5 basic impurities are Avidya, Asmita, Abhinivesh, Raga, and Dvesha. Avidya is the original one. The root is Avidya. Then it brings in Asmita. What is Avidya? Ignorance of my own true self. Asmita is I-ness. I did this, I am this, I am that, Asmita. Abhinivesh is identification with matter equipment. And then because of these 3, because of avidya, asmita is coming, abhinivesh is coming, and then raga, dvesha, like and dislike is coming. Avidya itself, the root has been now taken off. Other ones, there can be no sprouting anymore. Okay, sukhena, very easily. This sukha is not happiness. Sukhena, brahma samsparshaha. Samsparsha, literally sparsha means touch, but he has touched Brahman. There's nothing to touch Brahman. You cannot touch Brahman. You are Brahman. So that it has to be understood that way. Atyantam sukham ashnute. Atyantam. And I've explained that very much. Atyantikam, atyantam, same. Paramananda, synonyms. That which is beyond everything, that is which is in spite of, that is which is beyond sattva, which is beyond everything, all this. And it never fades, it never reduces, it never goes away, it never decays, it doesn't have any disease, nothing. That is what he gains. And then we were on 29, we had read this verse, Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Chatmani. I was thinking about this. So I don't know whether I gave you these very, very simple examples. This Sarva Bhutastha Atmanam. Sarva, all. Sarva. Bhuta, those who have become, which means all living beings. Bhuta here is not only human beings, animals, birds, plants, everything. All living beings are included in this Bhuta. in that he sees Atma. Now he sees Atma. What is Atma? Atma is myself. So he sees himself in all. Okay. The example here, which I thought of is, see, as parents, if my own child starts earning more than me, becomes taller than me, becomes more successful than I am, does a parent ever get jealous of the child? Can any parent here say, oh, I'm very jealous, huh? My child is now great, more educated than me, earning more money? Or on the contrary, the parents are wishing that happens, right? We wish that you become taller than me, you become richer than me, you have more education. So the parents never have the feeling of jealousy towards their child who is now doing much better than them. Why? Because the parent is seeing himself in that child or herself in that child, right? That is what is meant by server. Now what this server right now means only me and my children. Even if my brothers, my nieces and nephews, if they go higher, I'm jealous. Extend that to server, to everybody. So in the happiness of everybody in this world, if you feel happy, okay, what is the meaning? I see myself in them means what? Means when they feel happy, I feel happy, because it is like I am only becoming happy. Just imagine, just as a parent and a child. If that child is hurting, don't you hurt? Don't we hurt? If the child has got a fever, we'll say, oh my God, give it to me. Bhagwan, give me that fever. But so when the child hurts, I hurt. When the child is happy, I'm happy. That is what is meant. But this now here, it is sarva bhuta. It's not just my child happy, my child I hurt. No, we hurt when everybody hurts. We are happy when everybody is happy. If we follow this principle, we will never be unhappy in life. You know why? Because in the world, every day somebody or the other is happy. So if I find my happiness in other people's happiness, I will always be happy. If I'm looking for happiness only in few people, like my family, my friends, it's a ticket to misery only. I'll be miserable because everybody else, and this happiness is not going to last. When one person is miserable, somebody else is happy. So if you're finding your happiness in other, this is what is meant by seeing yourself in everybody. Just like a parent sees himself or herself in the child, you must be able to see this is what happens to him. Because why? This is the definition of a realized master. So what is happening to the realized master is he realizes his self to be the self in all. And that is the manifestation, that he becomes happy when others are happy. He also hurts when anybody else, he hears something, he hurts. Because it is he himself. That is what is sarva bhutas atmanam. Sarva bhutani cha atmani. Now, this is in chapter 11, this will be demonstrated by Bhagavan himself when he shows the Virat Rupa. He shows himself and he says, look, everybody is in me. He actually physically shows it to Arjun. But this is what is meant by sarva bhut. I see myself in everybody, and then in all, I see that Bhagwan. So from bhakti standpoint, if this is not bhakti, but I'm telling you, easier to follow by bhakti. If my Ishta Devata is Krishna, so if I look at anybody in the world, if I'm able to see Krishna alone, that is what is meant by Sarva Bhutani Chatmani. That is what is meant. Because Atma is now in Bhakti Shastra, Atma is your Ishta Devata. If you can see your Ishta Devata in everybody, then you fulfill this sarva. We have to practice, because we have not reached there. This is the description of the realized master. So this is the practice that we have to have. So at least let's not be jealous. Let's not be, trying to pull somebody else's, like, oh, that one is going higher and this is earning more than my children. Let's not have those type of thoughts. At least at our level, we should be happy if our friends' children are growing up, they're becoming more, they're earning more money, it's okay. That is the minimum thing. So sarva bhuta, so in all he sees me, Atma, here Atma, Bhagwan is now talking personal, one-to-one to Arjun. So he says me, but that me doesn't mean that form of Krishna. It doesn't mean the form. It means Atma, Brahman. So he's seeing all that in everybody. The example here is, if you walk into a hall of mirrors where there are different mirrors, and each one is projecting a reflection. One, the reflection is a dwarf, one it is tall, one it is fat, one it is thin, one it is crooked. I don't know, hall of mirrors in Seattle, I've seen this. So there is a hall. So when the person walks in and he sees this different this thing, it doesn't bother a human being, because the dwarf Jaya, oh, that's me only, oh, the tall, oh, that is me only, that is me only. That is what this is, Sarva Bhutani Cha Atmani. So in every one of those reflections, just as I can see myself, I know that that is me only. Will I have any kind of hatred or liking for anybody? Because me to I love the most. So actually, I will have love for everybody. I'll say, oh, I love, what a cute Jaya. It's just a small, like Vaman Avatar, small Jaya. Oh, tall Jaya. I'll mirror, not darpan. It gives me arrogance. Cute, cute. Even if my face is crooked and ugly, I'll say, no, how cute, huh? Because it's me. It's me. That's why. Another example of this is your own body. In your body, when your teeth bite the cheek, do you just break the teeth and scold them? No. Why? Because you have a sense of me. Me, teeth is also mine, cheek is also mine. It's okay. Or the finger pokes the eye. Do we cut off the finger? Do we get angry at the finger? No, because it is all me. So that is another example of this Sarva Bhuta Cha Atmani. Cha and. So Sarva. Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma. This is what he says. Ikshate is seeing Sarvatra Samadarshana. This is what I was at and I was going to explain. So what it means is Yoga Yuktatma, the one who is joined. Yukta is to join. Yoga. He's joined to yoga. Which yoga? Dhyana yoga. Which yoga? Where he has now seen the self, where he's seeing his own self in everybody. He becomes Samadarshanaha. This Sama is same. So he sees the same in all. It doesn't mean that he does not see the differences. Okay, we have seen this in chapter 5, where the realized master, he sees a cow, he knows it is a cow. It has a different function. It is, he knows. Elephant, of course he knows elephant is different than the cow. A Brahmin he sees, a dog he sees. But what is the sameness is, he's seeing that existence principle, the substratum, he's seeing the self in all. Because you see, Sarva Bhutastha Atmanam. Bhuta, I told you, is all. So whether he sees a cow, whether he sees a dog, whether he sees an elephant, or he sees a human being, or a dwarf, or an ugly person, or a beautiful person, or whatever that he sees, he is seeing his own self in those. But he knows that, oh, did I tell you the story of I told, right? The guru and the disciple were walking and the mad elephant came in front. Did I tell that last time? The Samadarshana, okay. So there is a story. So there was a disciple and a guru, spiritual guru, and the guru had given the lesson, the self in me is the self in all. That was the lesson of the day. And the lesson was finished and both of them were walking. And there was a mad elephant coming from the front. And the Mahut was sitting and he was screaming, move away, move away. This elephant is totally out of control. Move away. So the guru, the minute he heard, he just ran and he climbed up on the tree. But the disciple was very fresh in his mind. The self in me is the self in all. So the self in the elephant is just self in me. So nothing is going to happen to me. So that elephant came and he trampled the student, the disciple. Then the disciple said to the guru, what is this, guru? You taught me self in me is the self in all. And now this elephant, the self in the elephant is, he said, three different things. One is, okay, self in the elephant is the self in you, correct. Isn't the self in the Mahut the self in you? Isn't that self telling you to move away? Why did you not listen to the mouth? Okay, forget that. Did you not look at me? The self in me is the self in you, but I ran up and sat on the tree and I am telling you, come. So why you're not listening to me? So that the self in me is the self in all doesn't mean that the person does not see the difference. He sees the difference, but it doesn't affect his mind. That is what it is. So when he sees that a mad elephant is coming, of course that upadhi has now become defective, because self never gets defective. Self is avya, it's disease-free, it's free. So the self is not, but the upadhi is not coming under control. You have to make sure that your upadhi moves out of there. So understand the samadarshana, where you see that what happens is we see the difference, we get affected by them too. Right? Immediately say, oh, that person is shorter than me. Oh, that person is taller. Oh, that person is richer than me. Oh, that person is poorer than me. Oh, what does that know? I know so much. Now that I'm into Vedanta, yesterday I met a lady. All of a sudden, without any background, she's starting to study Kathopanishad and then totally getting. And I told her, you're not qualified. You're not qualified for Kathopanishad. Go for Bhagavad Gita. But everybody thinks they're all qualified only because we are so intelligent. Now there's all this confusion happening. So, now that I'm into Vedanta, I said, okay, fine. Right? So it shouldn't be like that. This Samadarshana, when I see my happiness, when I feel my happiness in others' happiness, when I feel hurt in others' hurt, that is the sameness. Otherwise, the differences are seen. Realized master sees the differences in the world. We can't help. It's the eyes. Eyes will see the world is a variety. So understand the sameness. Samadarshanaha is to be understood. Okay. And in chapter 9, it will come also. Nirdosham hi samam brahma, Bhagavan says. Samam word comes all in and through. Samata is one of the underlying principles of Bhagavad Gita. Because mamata is the problem. Samata is the antidote. That ma has to change to sa. Samata. So samata with regards to thoughts that come in our mind, samata with whatever is happening outside, person, situation, objects, whatever is outside. That is how it is. Okay. All right. Now, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. He who sees me everywhere. Note that the M is in capital, okay? So it is do not misunderstand that as meaning the form of Shri Krishna. It means the supreme consciousness, the pure consciousness, Atma, Brahman. He who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, he never gets separated from me, nor do I get separated from him. How can you? How can you get separated from that Atma, from Brahman? This is he who sees me everywhere is Sarva Bhutastha Atmanam. That is from the previous verse. The first word is that he who sees me everywhere, because me is the self. It is the consciousness he's talking about. And then sees everything in me. That is Sarva Bhutani Cha Atmani. In the bhutas, in all the bhutas, sarva, all the bhutas, cha atmani. He sees all the bhutas in Atma, and he sees Atma in everyone. That is, it is just exactly a translation of those two words. What happens to him? Why should I do this? Tasyaham na pranashyati. He never gets destroyed. Why? Because he has actually become one with me. Brahman, there is no death for Brahman. There is no destruction for Brahman. There is no disease for Brahman. There is no decay for Brahman. He has become one with me. Now he does it. And then, Sacha name pranashyati. I also don't. I never get separated from him. Once you see, you see. I've given you the example of the hologram. You see that giraffe or that cow or that elephant in there, you can never lose it. You can never lose. Once you get this vision, once that thought becomes vasana, you can never lose that vasana. It's technical explanation, technical. But here, once you start seeing that, how do I see? See, in 29, the verse 29 is Tvam Pada. Why is this sort of being repeated? 29 is actually referring to the jiva, to us. Why? Because it is an instruction to the jiva. It is Tvam Pada Shodhanam, it is actually 29. Because if you look at it, like I said, it's the same verse, but it's different standpoints. So this 29 is from our standpoint. So where the yogi who has now realized, starts seeing himself in everybody and starts seeing everybody in his Atma. Now this is Tat. This Mai, Bhagwan is using Mam and Mai, me word he's using. So now the standpoint has changed. This is the standpoint from Tat. This is Tat Pada Shodhanam. Tvam pada shodhanam there means purification. Shodhanam here means discovery. Shodhanam changes it because there is nothing to purify in the pure consciousness. Tvam padam is shodhanam. So from 1 to 6 chapters are purification. Tat padam shodhanam they are purification. And from 7 onwards, what will start is discovery of the self. Shodhanam only, word is shodhanam only, but that's what. So this is what he says, yo mom. They're seeing me everywhere and they see all in me. He never gets destroyed. No, tasyaham na pranasha aham. Such a person, I don't get him. I don't leave him ever. Once he comes to me, that's it. It's a point of no return. This is what is meant by that atyantikam sukham. There is no coming back. There is no fading. There is no reduction. There is no increase. It's infinity. You cannot increase infinity. You cannot decrease infinity either. This is what is meant by that. You get it? Okay. All right. Vedanta, when you practice Vedanta, it is devotion. Don't think that Vedanta is different from devotion. Parabhakti and Jnana, Parabhakti, Supreme Bhakti, is the same. Because in Parabhakti, the Bhakta, the devotee knows that I am not separate from the Lord. But I love to pray and I love to, bathe my Lord and I love to do this and that. So I'm doing it. But I know within that knowledge has to be there. So knowledge and Parabhakti are one and the same. Vedanta in practice is devotion. Devotion done scientifically is Vedanta. Don't do blind devotion, blind faith. The blind faith is, when one thing goes wrong, you're like, what is this? I pray to you so much and now this is, that is not devotion. That is only selfishness. As long as God is giving me what I want, I'm devoted. And the minute something goes wrong, which will definitely someday go wrong, you have to have the courage to know that Bhagwan has done this for a reason and he knows what the reason is and I should be surrendered to him. Okay, but that's devotion. Anyway, we move on to 29, 30, 31. Sarvabhutastitham yo mam bhajate katvamastitah sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate. He who being established in unity worships me, who dwells in all beings, that yogi abides in me, whatever be his mode of living. This is where please understand that all this is description of the realized master. It is not a description of us. It is being given to tell us what the goal of meditation is. What is dhyana going to give? All the instructions that he has given in the previous, in the soul chapter up to now, what is it going to lead me to? That is what he's saying. And already because we have done Chitta Shuddhi from chapter 3 onwards, now we have to practice Chitta Ekagrata. That is what this chapter is about. From Chitta Shuddhi, we move to Chitta Ekagrata, and from Ekagrata, we become extremely single-pointed, where we come to a state where there are no thoughts. And in that, what is that? Sarva Bhuta Stitham Yomam, the one who worships everything, seeing me in them. In Updesh Sar, Brahman Maharshi has given a verse, Ashtamurti Brad. Ashtamurti Brad. Okay, the meaning is Ashtamurti Brad means when you see God in this Ashtadha Prakriti. Ashtadha Prakriti is now in chapter 7, Bhagavan will explain. The 5 planets you can say, then there is Mana Buddhi Ankar. So there's this, eightfold Prakriti of Bhagavan, which for ease of understand them to be the 5 elements, and then there is mind, intellect, and ego. So this means this is what is forming this entire world. When he starts seeing me in every, and he starts in this one, yogi is already seeing this Lord everywhere now, because he has become one with the Lord, and the Lord is one with his creation. So when I become one with the Lord, then that Lord is one with the creation. So obviously I'm one with the creation as well. So this is what is meant by Sarva Bhuta Stitham Yo Mam. And then when I see the Lord everywhere, what will I do other than worship? Am I going to be jealous? Am I going to be angry? Am I going to be this thing? See, in life, we have three standpoints in our ordinary day-to-day life. One standpoint is where I'm constantly looking at other individuals, only my attention is only at my level in this. Now what happens is, what kind of a relationship will I have with other individuals? Either I say they are better off than me, or I say they are worse off than me. Either I like them or I don't like them. Either I'm competing with the one who is doing better than me, or I'm, rejoicing at somebody who is not as better off at me. That is the type of relationship I will have when my vision is only at my level, at um, at the level of the individuals. Okay. Now what I do is I shift my vision to the Lord. From the individual, now I've shifted it up there to my Guru, to my Lord. Will I have a sense of competition with God? Will I have jealousy towards God? I've told you this before. You go to Tirupati. Do you say that, whoa, they say Tirupati is the richest temple, right? I don't know, in India, wherever it is. Do you say you have got so much gold and I don't have any much? Does anybody say that? When you shift your vision has to be shifted. Vedanta is only a shift in vision. It is not a shift in position, house, nothing. Shift your vision from the individuals around you to that God who is the creator. Okay, then what happens is you are not living a life of competition. You're not living a life of jealousy. I want to become greater. You can never become greater than Ishvara. So there's no point trying also. So your vision changes. You change the vision, and then your attitude, your behavior changes, because whatever is your vision, that is how you're going to behave. If your vision is that person is doing better than me, then your attitude is going to be, let me see what I can do to become better than him or her. But with God, it doesn't happen like that. Shift. And then when you shift, and then when that devotion comes, and then when you want to know that God, you will come to know that there is no difference between that God and me. This is what this chapter is all about. Shift your attention. Okay, then what happens is, then what I see, that Ishvara only in everywhere, that God, that Lord, Atma, whatever that you want to call, you see that everywhere. If you see only that God, will you have competition? Will you have jealousy? Will you have all those things? This is what is meant here. You will only worship now. You see the Lord everywhere, only you can do his worship, because he's Sarva Shaktiman, he's Sarvadnya. He's all-knowing, he's all-powerful, he's omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. He can give me anything that I want, right? So that way. Sarvatha vartamanopi, sarvatha vartamanopi is a sense of I in everybody. And this is what I told you. When I see myself in everybody, that's what this is meant by. The same thing, like in your own body, don't you see yourself in everything? That's why you don't get angry at the finger which is poking your eyes, or your teeth or biting your cheek, and then you're in so much pain. You don't get angry. There is a sense of I. It is I. It is I. It is me. That sort of sense will come with respect to the entire world. Sarva bhuta bhutastha atmanam. That is what it is. Api sa yogi mai vartate. Vartate here abides. He abides in me. It means he has already abided in him. That's why this vision, it's like a vicious circle, we are supposed to get this vision. For that, we need to abide. But once we abide, we will automatically get this vision. This is all description of the realized master. It is not our description. It is a goal for us. What is being told? Why are we being told all this? If we are not there yet, but the goal is being given so that we can strive towards that goal. That is what all these verses are. Because meaning is similar. The sense of I in and through all. Okay, that is sarvatha vartamanopi. And then Sayogi Maivat, he abides in me alone. All right. Okay. Atmopamena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo mataha. He who through the likeness, sameness of the self, O Arjuna, sees equality everywhere, be it pleasure or pain, he is regarded as the highest yogi. Samam word comes again. I told you this samam word is extremely important. Samata, equipoise, equality, equanimity of mind, extremely important in spiritual studies. So what he's saying is he who through his sameness of the self, okay, like, and I told you, I explained to you, sameness doesn't mean that if there is a, coyote running, I ran on the other side, I saw a coyote right behind, don't do the self in him, no, he can hurt you. That is not sameness. Okay, so when anybody else is hurting and you're hurting, when you see that sort of sameness, when you see that sort of equality in everybody, then and then pleasure or pain. So I told you, equality to internal, external. Internal is with whatever thoughts that are coming in your mind, and equality means, even if a jealous thought arises, a negative thought arises, let me put it that way, or there can be a negative thought, a positive thought, because we have brought both types of vasanas with us, positive and negative. They will generate positive and negative thought. So when they both come, like in meditation, you'll be like the general who is standing on the stage and the parade is going and is watching that parade. So be like that. Don't run with that jealous thought and now go do something for whom you feel jealousy. Not like that. So you watch those. Be equanimous towards the thought. Outside there is objects, there is situations, there is persons. Okay, and these three aspects in our life give us either pleasure or pain. So object is, some objects that I like will give me pleasure, which I don't like will give me pain. Same thing with situations, cold, hot, whatever, rain, snow, whatever situation comes, that will give me pain or pleasure, and then people give me pain and pleasure. So when I am equal to that pleasure and pain, because pleasure and pain is felt in the mind. So therefore, there is that samatha in the mind. In the mind, a mind should remain sama, equal, equanimous. 47 verse, chapter 2, Sukha Dukhe Same Krutva. That's why I told that's very, very important instruction Bhagavan already gave Arjuna. So when we also heard that, this thing, the point should be that when the minute we heard it, we should try to do that. Whatever instructions Bhagavan has given, they're going to stay. They're not going to change. Be it pleasure. He is regarded as the highest yogi. And here, only a realized master can do this. We can't, but at least let's try the 80-20 rule. I always have that 80-20 rule, which was given by a dietitian on the radio. So when you're dieting, at least 80% of the time, please eat correctly. Then 20% you can let the mind go and, indulge and whatever. So the 80-20 rule applies also. Whatever applies outside, I'm finding it more and more, even in the gym, when this thing, it's very parallel to spirituality. Spirituality is internal, the gym is external. So the way the science works at the gym, those who have gone, they shanai, they do it. Slowly, they increase the weight that you're lifting. Slowly, they give you a bit more complex or a bit more harder workout, a bit more. So that's slow, but it's steady. And if you have a personal trainer, you can see that, because I remember in the gym when they first brought in the curve. I don't know how many of you know. Ramsay, you know what the curve is, right? And she made me run on the curve. I actually had fear in my heart. Literal fear I felt. I was running on the treadmill. But treadmill and curve is different. Curve is you yourself your speed is controlling the curve. Treadmill is you put the speed, and if you're feeling afraid or something, you reduce the speed, you're okay. I was feeling fear. And I told my personally, I actually feel fear. And she was very somehow, very equanimous. She said, okay, she said. And I thought, okay, now that I feel fear, she's not going to put me on again. A few weeks, okay, Jaya, you're running on the curve. And then one day I said, you know what? There is no fear anymore. Physical fear I felt the first time, but slowly, but steadily. Then I told her, I said, I told you. She said, yeah, you told me. So that's okay. And they make you do that. So that's why you should never say. Then the minute you say this is difficult, oh, is it? Okay. Next thing you go there. So now I've learned my lessons. I don't say anything. So this is exactly the same here. It's exactly slowly, but steadily keep on the path, keep meditating. At the same time, do karma yoga to purify your. It has to go simultaneously. It doesn't, I'll do karma yoga, then I'll purify my mind completely, then I'll come to meditation. It doesn't work like that. Everything to be done simultaneously. Any questions? Because now we are going into a different, not topic, but there's a question by Arjun here. Any questions so far? All clear? Let's go to Arjun's question then. This is also an important aspect of the studies. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya proktaha sammena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthithim sthiram. Arjuna said, this yoga of equanimity taught by thee, O slayer of Madhu, I see not its enduring continuity because of the restlessness of the mind. Okay, he's asking this. So we'll go to the next one. We'll do it both together. And he's giving his reason. Why do I say that? Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manne vayoriva sudushkaram. The mind verily is, O Krishna, restless, turbulent, strong, and unyielding. I deem it quite as difficult to control as the wind. So we'll see the questions today, then we'll see the answers. So Bhagwan has talked, I told you, equanimity, samatha, seeing same everywhere, at the thoughts, at the outside situation. So that is this yoga of equanimity that he's talking about. So inside and outside, taught by thee, you've taught, I understood what you taught. But slayer of Madhu, here Madhu was a demon. Madhu and Kaitaba, as the story goes, Madhu and Kaitaba were two demons, and Bhagwan, they came out of the ears of Bhagwan Vishnu. There's the story from Durga Puran, and it took 5,000 years for Vishnu to kill them both. Okay, so the story kind of feels silly, but the spiritual significance of it is, coming out of the ear represents this Madhu and Kaitaba. They represent this gossip. We hear gossip, right? Then we go tell 10 other people, you know what happened? Da 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 da. So these are these two, and Madhu means what? Honey. So Madhu represents like, and Kaitaba represents dislike. So what happens is, when we hear, it generates either a thought of like, if somebody tells us good things about somebody, we like that person even without knowing that person. But someone can tell us hurtful things, bad things also about the person. You know what, this person did this, did to me, then that dislike comes. So this like and dislike is what is being represented by these two demons, Madhu and Kaitaba. And the significance of them coming out of the ears of Bhagwan Vishnu is, that is where we hear from other people, and then we make our own conclusion. I like this person and I don't like this person. And to get rid of those two, because now it has become so strong, it takes a long time. That is why 5,000 years, that is the story. That is the spiritual significance of that story, because the story seems like, what story is that, kind of thing. That is what this is. So Madhusudana is one of his names. Bhagavan Shri Krishna's names is Madhusudana, is to kill. to destroy. So he is the destroyer, slayer, or destroyer of Madhusudana. He says, I can't think it will continue, because why? The mind is so chanchal, right? It is. Mind is chanchal. Mind is like a monkey. So that restlessness, to control that restlessness, it is difficult. And the continuity I don't see. Like maybe at one situation comes and yes, I've controlled my mind, but to control it all the time is very, very difficult. And he gives 5 reasons. So next one he gives chanchalam himana. So first of all, mind is fickle. Chanchal is fickle. So even Lakshmi, they say, is very fickle minded. Chanchal, she's very chanchal. People who pray to Lakshmi, she's very chanchal. She will pray, she will come one day and then she'll run away. So Gurudev said, don't pray to Lakshmi, pray to Narayan Bhagwan, because she is pressing his feet. She cannot leave his feet and go. So people don't understand this. So that's the trick. Don't pray to Lakshmi for money, pray to Narayan Bhagwan. Then with Narayan, if you get Narayan, you will get Lakshmi automatically. No problem. No, you'll have to run after Lakshmi. Narayan is just laying on the Sheshanaga. He's just laying aram say. He's not going anywhere. He's not moving. So it's very easy to get him than to get this Lakshmi Devi. Okay. So chanchal. So this mind is like that. It will be running. It is fickle. It's running from one topic to another topic. Anek agra it is. It is called as anek. Agra is tip. Anek is many, many tips it has. I don't have to explain to you. I'm sure your own, unless somebody's mind is very single pointed. Mine is very chanchal. Let me tell you. Pramathi. Very, very turbulent, right? You know how when the vasanas push, how restless your mind becomes. Rajasic people will understand this very well, because that mind just churns when you see something that you want, or when you see something which makes you angry. You're so angry, and then you will burst out turbulent. You understand turbulence, right? If you're caught in a wind or cyclones and hurricane, mind is like that. Mind is very, very powerful. So it's just so there's 4 difficulties he's giving. First of all, mind is chantala, then it is pramati. Balavad is very strong. It has got strength. It pushes me to do things. Mind, that how powerful the mind is. Dridam, very firm. Once the mind sets its mind that this is not correct or this is not that, but see, these can help also. Like when we see our freedom, when Mahatma Gandhi said Satyagraha, that was Dridam. Mind was very strong. It wasn't chanchal, no chanchal, but turbulent. Why? Because my motherland has to be freed. Turbulence was there. Then Balwat, strong. So the strength was there. The mental strength was there. And then Dhanam, firmness was there. He said, no, Satyagraha is a word that he coined. Satya Agra. Agra, insistence on Satya. Whatever is the truth, I am going to stick by the truth. So we need these qualities, but they can become negative also. That's what he's saying. This mind, if it is fickle, it is going to get this thing. If the mind becomes single pointed, what happened with Mahatma Gandhi? He said, no, what was the single pointed? No, my country, I have a right to live in a free country. My motherland has to be freed. And then he followed that. So the mind was single. That chanchalam is the problem, where it is becoming, fickle. So these are the 4 problems. So Arjun says, so he says, it is fickle, it is unsteady, it is turbulent, it is strong, it is firm. How to do this equanimity, yoga of equanimity? How do I do that? Tasya aham nigraham manne. It is like controlling the wind. This is what he's saying. Controlling the mind is like controlling the wind. And he says, how do you control the wind? Bhagwan, Madhusudana, oh Madhusudana, because it took him 5,000 years. So he says, it took you 5,000 years, but probably for us 5 million years. We cannot control the mind. This is what he's saying. That's why that word Madhusudana, every word has a meaning in Bhagavad Gita. It is not used just because, he felt like using that. That is why I told you that story. That is important. It took him 5,000 years to control those 2. A mind, though, is even more powerful than they are. So how long is it going to take me or take anybody? So now Bhagwan gives the answer, but we'll see that next week there is no class. Please remember 29th, because we have Vancouver has the AGM. For those of you who are members, I request all of you to attend. It is on Zoom and it's at 10 o'clock, right? 10 o'clock. So this class will not happen. So we will meet in November. November 5th will be our next class, and we will then continue with this, with Bhagwan's answers. Okay, Bhagwan will answer now from 35 to 41, 40, 43, no, 43 verses. So about a maximum 10, whatever, 8, 10 verses. We will complete them in November. And does this class, you guys want to do discussion, right? Everybody is willing to discuss. Very good. I'm so happy with everybody nodding their heads. I don't see some heads nodding, but I will send off the things, or I will put it on the common, this thing, is that okay for him say? On the Sunday group, WhatsApp group. Yeah, now I'm also learning the easy way of just taking a photo and sending it off. And then you guys can have I'll send it off in the next 2 weeks. So you have time to think about which verses you would like to do. And then Prem Sai will put it in a spreadsheet and all. Any question? The mananam is very important. Please remember, it is a thing that has been tradition by Gurudev, and mananam is your own thinking about the verse. Okay, and that is what also tells me how much has been understood by you, right? So, okay, all right, okay. So we'll close for today. ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्ति भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ